Welcome back to another episode of the Filmaholic. This is our top shelf episode. We have this every Tuesday where we give you a list of our favorites or whatever the topic may be that week. This week we're doing top 10 films of the 2000s. So this is our personal top 10 favorite films of the 2000s. And before we kick things off with our actual top 10 list, we always go around and we do our honorable mentions. So we're going to start with that. Ethan, you want to give your your 5 honorable mentions?
Yep, I'm ready. Number 15, we got Steve McQueen, his first directorial film with Hunger, starring Michael Fassbender. It's their first collaboration and my personal favorite of their trio. I don't think you've seen this one. No, yeah, it's just a great movie, so you don't have to check it out anytime soon. One of my favorite Michael Fassbender performances, not my favorite, it's Steve Jobs. But this one he plays based on a true story, Bobby Sands, during the Irish prison strike when Margaret Thatcher was in charge. It's really brutal. Some scenes are hard to watch because you know that this is definitely what people went through. But it's definitely worth watching. It's really short, I think. Number 14, got Gangs in New York. This one, it's moved down to when I watched it with you last time.
Oh, man.
It would be a lot higher if they would get rid of the stuff with like Civil War. I think that takes away from it, especially in the third act. Like if they would cut that a little bit out, like when they're having their final fight, but then it's when people are going around looting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of got really annoying last time I watched it. Otherwise, it probably would have been up in my top 10.
Rewatch it again.
Yeah, it might go down. Maybe number 15 next time. No more 5-star. Well, Hunger is my only 4.5-star film on this list. The rest are 5 stars.
I have 3 on mine.
Just 3 5-stars? Man.
No, 4.5 stars. Some honorable mentions. But.
Rough decade. Number 13. This is another one that went down last time I watched it. Catch Me If You Can. Good performances overall, but kind of just a basic story, really. Which I mean, it's based on a true story, so I don't think you can really do much with that. I like Leo and Tom Hanks' performances, as well as the whole cast, really, but. I think if you'd had a couple different people in the movie and a different director, I don't think it would have been as good. So luckily they all worked out for them. Number 12, I got District 9. This was another one that dropped really far on my list over the past couple of years. Used to think it should have won Best Picture. Not anymore.
Should have been Inglourious Bastards.
We'll get there, man. Probably the only Neil Blomkamp movie I really love. Elysium was okay, but I don't think Matt Damon was right for that role, so it kind of brought it down for me. But this one is definitely has like social issues to bring up with the story. Definitely could be more relatable now. I think it might do a little bit better now if it came out, just with everything that's going on. And my final honorable mention, number 11, is Pixar's Up. This is one I've told you to watch, and you still haven't. So
I'll get around to it.
You're missing out, dude.
This
when I watched it, I didn't expect to love it. I was like, it might be at least decent, but it's one of my favorite Pixar movies. Incredible story. Like I love the cinematography in the movie. Like all the characters are funny. Even like the old man who's just supposed to be a jerk, but you just understand where he's coming from. But yeah, one of my favorite Pixar movies, but not one of my favorite animated overall.
Okay. So for my honorable mentions, I have them numbered like you do, but I'm not 100% that they're this certain way because there was a couple. Well, Yeah, there was a couple that I didn't get a chance to rewatch. I tried to rewatching several of these films before I made the list to see where they'd fall on my list, and a couple of them I didn't get a chance to do. But like my number 11 is I have it rated on Letterboxd as a 5-star film, so I still wanted to keep it in there, but I didn't make it. It didn't make it my top 10 because I wasn't sure if it still would make it in my top 10. But starting with
any of these, so this is just based off memory.
Starting at my number 15 is the Darjeeling Unlimited, Wes Anderson's second best film. Just really a lot of some of his movies. I mean, a lot of his movies I watch now, I'm like, they're okay. I mean, it's like the same style. It's acquired taste. They're not. None of them I have really watched that I feel like are bad. But, you know, his top 3 really stood out to me, and this is my second favorite of his. Really like the characters, really like everything. The shots in this film, the chemistry between the 3 leads, the comedic moments were great, but also just like the heart of the story as well. The relationship between the brothers. Yeah, so that made it number 15 for me. Shaking your head over there.
Disrespect to his other movies.
But that one's a 4.5 for me on Letterboxd as of right now. But that's one of the ones I didn't get a chance to rewatch. My number 14 is The Aviator. This could be higher on my list if I rewatch it again, because I did just really, really like it the last time I watched it. One of my favorite biopics. Leo's just incredible in the role. I'm not really sure. Can't remember who won Best Actor in 2002, but it should have been Leo. Just great performance. You know, I like a lot of movies that are behind the scenes of filmmaking. So you got that going on in this movie, you know, as well as everything else that this guy did in real life with the planes and all that. Great story. My number 13 is Batman Begins. This is the last 4.5 on my list. One of the best origin stories for superhero comic book films. Kicked off the Dark Knight trilogy and really kicked off the modern comic book era. I really like when I think about that, I think of 2008 because you got Iron Man and the Dark Knight in that year, and it changed the course of comic book films. But to get the Dark Knight, you had to have Batman Begins. So that really is a true start of the modern comic book era. Great performances. Christopher Nolan coming in, just changing everything, changing the game. Incredible. Number 12 is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. First 5-star film on here. The best Harry Potter film. Big fan of that franchise anyway, especially when I was a kid in the 2000s. So that came in at number 12. And then my last one at number 11 is another one I didn't get to rewatch, and that's Catch Me If You Can, which you also had on your list. I rated it a 5-star when I watched it. Loved it, but it might would move down to a 4.5 if I rewatched it. I'm just not sure. But
yeah, it's a soft 5 for me.
Leo's my third favorite actor, so a lot of his movies I like, unless they are just really bad like J. Edgar. But one of Tom Hanks, one of my favorite films with him as well. Just the two of them together. I think Spielberg's last truly great movie as well.
How dare you?
What did he have after Catch Me If You Can?
Lincoln, man. Tired of your disrespect. You just wait. You'll rewatch it one day. He'll be like,
it's
all
okay.
Right, I understand.
It's okay.
Disrespect. I've only seen The Aviator once, so that's the only reason it's not.
Got to rewatch it. Because the first time I watched it, I was like, oh man, this is long. I think I had it at 4 the first time. It was still really good, but I was like, I don't know. And then the second time, I was like, man, his performance is just incredible.
Him in the screening room is just me during the quarantine right now.
Just have the jars of piss in there.
Just sitting
there. Long fingernails. God. Yeah, that's my honorable mentions though. Which brings us to our top 10 list at number 10.
Number 10, I got No Country for Old Men.
All right, well, that's on my list as well, and it is number 5.
Man.
Just perfect film.
This is a movie I could not stand the first time I watched it. The ending totally pissed me off. I thought it was bogus. Such an unsatisfying ending. The first time I watched it. The first time I watched it, like Josh Brolin just dies.
I was pissed that he died the first time.
Just randomly, not by anybody. Like I didn't mind that he died, but it's like you just got killed by nobody. Javier Bardem, Sugar just gets away. Just hits by a car. Sugar. He just gets away, and then I've got Tommy Lee Jones, talking metaphorically about his dreams. Who cares?
I like that scene.
That's what I thought the first time I watched it. I was like incredibly pissed off. Like I just wasted 2 hours of my life on this garbage to have this just unsatisfying ending. So when I finally decided to rewatch it, I'm like, all right, what do these dreams mean? I'm looking it up before I knew, so I can get it. And like I said, I read the book, so that helps understand it too.
I tried reading the book, couldn't get into it.
Well, that's how I felt about the movie the first time. So you need to rewatch the movie, and read the book too. But I mean, obviously, Javier Bardem is one of the best performances of the decade. Just gives you chills. Sitting in the bathtub, just pulling stuff out of his leg.
Tommy Lee Jones, though, his character is one of my favorite of the decades. We'll talk about that next week, but
I think that was. I mean, other than the Goonies, that was probably my introduction to Josh Brolin. Which I think when I watched it out, I was a sucker for Woody Harrelson too. Till he bites the bullet, unfortunately. Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen that movie yet. It's only 12 years old. The DVD release for you. But yeah, that's my number 10. Starting out pretty strong. Only going to get better.
I also think it's. I know you disagree, but typically I don't agree with the Oscars.
Yep.
This is one time that I did, and I think the last time. It is the last time that I've agreed with the Oscars in terms of Best Picture. I think it did deserve to win Best Picture.
You are incorrect, sir.
Just the writing, from the writing to directing to performances, characters, cinematography, everything was just incredible with this film.
Not incredible enough.
Yep. So yeah, moving on to my number 10 is Forgetting Sarah Marshall from 2008. One of the all-time best comedies. Definitely, probably, I think, second best comedy of the 2000s, in my opinion. I remember getting this on a DVD, movie gallery, so the discount bin. I, didn't know what it was about. Just looked like this stupid guy on the front of it with a Hawaiian shirt. And
you wore that?
What?
Is that what you wore your shirt?
And I remember watching it. It's like, I loved it so much, and I got you to watch it. Brought it over there. You probably weren't supposed to watch it.
Good Luck Chuck was the only thing I wasn't supposed to watch.
No, well, I don't know if they had foreseen Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
No, not there.
Just drops his tail.
Not in their wheelhouse.
Opening of the movie, just dicks out.
Oh, you break up with me? I know. If I sit down, it means it's over.
Just every scene is just so funny. Jason Segel. I'm really surprised he doesn't have more leading roles in comedies. I don't know if it's like just something he doesn't want to do, or I know after this movie we got I Love You Man. I liked it, but it's not the same caliber film.
Oh, I love it so much.
And then we got the Muppets, and I don't know what he's doing.
I watched that. Thank you.
But he's a good dramatic actor as well. But yeah, Mila Kunis, one of my favorite roles from her as well. Really good.
Russell Brand,
just gave him his spotlight.
Yeah.
He's gonna try to make a comeback this year with
career for a second.
That Riverboat movie.
That's not happening.
Bill Hader in here
was close to being number 15. There was like a 3-way tie, but I thought about it. I was like, all right, I think I like Hunger more. But like I said, I didn't rewatch any of these, so
this was one I rewatched because I wanted to make
could
sure.
Be like in my top 5 if I rewatched it. So,
but I rewatched, and it's one of those comedies that like I watched it last week, but I could go throw it on right now and have it on in the background and be like, still laugh at the jokes. Like it's a feel good movie too. And the Hawaiian setting and everything, it's great.
From 6 to midnight.
Jonah Hill, yes, Jonah Hill, one of his early films as well. Like, just this guy is a 2-time Academy Award nominated actor.
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd's in there, yeah. Smaller role, but definitely stands out.
No, I can't touch you.
Who knew? You sound like you from London. But that's my number 10.
Oh, well. My number 9 is the best comedy of the decade.
All right. My number 4.
Superbad.
Yeah, my number 4.
Like I say, it is the best comedy. I don't know. I've got another one at my number 7 spot. I don't know if I would consider it dramatic comedy. So, but as far as a straightforward comedy, Superbad is hands down the best. I think back in the day, you used to say Pineapple Express.
I've never said that.
No? I think I remember that.
There's another stroke.
I'm going to go back, check the Twitter feed back in the day. I think there was something.
Back then, I'd only seen Pineapple Express once, I think, in theaters.
Oh,
I think it's another movie. Another movie I drugged my dad to see when it came out, and he walked out and was like,
hated you. I'm not taking these movies again.
This and Zohan? No. Yeah, not Superbad, but Pineapple Express. Which I like that movie. It's really good. I think I have it at 4 stars. And it could change if I rewatch it.
Zohan?
Pineapple Express.
Yeah, it'll definitely change if you watch it.
That probably has a 0.5 if I rewatched it, but I'll never do that. So Superbad's 5 out of.
Like you said, I could throw this on the TV right now, go to sleep and wake up, and I'll throw it back on.
It's not just really funny though. Like it's actually a really smart, like just a really good screenplay.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah. And this is one like they were working on since they were kids, before they were even younger than the characters in this film.
They just did it. They wanted to see if they could do it.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, let's make this. Like another one with Bill Hader.
In this film, him and Seth Rogen as the 2 cops. That was genius.
It's hilarious.
Yoda, Attack of the Clones.
Just hit Jonah Hill like, oh, not again.
Like, what do you think? Fastest kid alive.
He's the fastest kid alive. Shoot my gun in the air. Draw him out.
Honestly, like I said, it's my number 4. It probably would be up a little bit higher. I mean, it's still 5 stars. I still think it's perfect, but it would be up a little higher if we had made this list like 5 years ago, probably. But when I was less like aware of stuff. But like, I know that this doesn't really bother you, but some of the comedy is from that time.
Does not bother.
It's still going to get a 5 star for me, but it does. Like, even Seth Rogen has said, if he made certain films today, it wouldn't have the same comedy because
they wouldn't get made.
Well, it wouldn't get made, but his comedy's evolved, like you evolve as a person and time, so yeah. The scene with Jonah Hill behind Jules in Hall Met class is just, not a fan of that scene. But yeah, I love that film. It's one of my favorites.
I don't think this would ever break my top 5 of the 2000s. Just looking at my list, it might move up, more than where it's at now on like a rewatch. If I rewatched all 15 of these, it might move up a couple spots, or it could move down. but I know like it would be in the top 15 unless something just drastically changes where I watch it one day and I'm just like, this is garbage. Like, I just don't see that happening.
So moving on to my number 9, and I hope you're ready to talk about your number 1.
You,
And that
you're insane.
That is There Will Be Blood, coming in at number 9 for me. My third favorite film of 2007. Yeah, got you that poster.
Oh, it's just in the apartment office
for 3 months. Oh, we got this. We didn't feel like calling you though.
Didn't think you wanted it.
Best performance, hands down, of 2007 from Daniel Day-Lewis. What's up?
Best performance of all time.
Whoa, taking it too far there. Best performance in 2007. One of the best from the 2000s. I don't know. I'd have to go back and rewatch his other films because it wasn't before, but it might be my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson film after this past rewatch. Because this is one that I did rewatch for the list because I didn't have it rated on Letterboxd, and I didn't think it would make it in my top 10, maybe my top 15, but I wasn't sure, so I had to rewatch it, and it did come in at number 9. Just
you're welcome.
Really love the story. Like I said, performance from Paul Dano. The performance is really good too.
Talk about
probably
screenplay.
Screenplay is really good. I don't like the screenplay as much as say No Country for Old Men, but it is really good. The directing is phenomenal. I think PTA should have won Best Director for this film over the Coen Brothers for No Country for Old Men. Cinematography, outstanding. The score, robbed for a nomination. I don't know. Like, I guess they just, I don't know.
Just don't care.
We'll listen to the movie with subtitles, turn the sound off. I don't know what happened, but
it's not silent. I had it on mute the whole time. Yeah, this it is my number 1.
The ending scene too, one of the best scenes of the 2000s.
So, oh man, that right there, the whole movie. Like, I'll stand by the fact that that's the best performance of all time, all day. I would put that up against anything pound for pound in anyone's filmography. I don't care what it is. And his performance in Gangs of New York is a close second. So let's just put that out there. It is my number 1, third favorite movie of all time. This is another one. Like, the first time I watched it, I liked it. But my only complaint with this movie is I think that they should have explained that Paul Dano's character was a twin
before he shows up.
Because when it happened, I'm just like, I was totally confused. I was probably
like Daniel was in the movie.
I was probably like 14 when I came out, or when I finally watched it. So I probably wasn't understanding anything about the movie. But yeah, obviously now, like I say, it's, you're just so confused. Like, oh, who is this? Like, oh, no, not the guy that came visit me.
I think I watched it the first time in 2016.
Oh my God.
I think. Yeah.
I'll have to ask Paul Thomas Anderson for forgiveness because I watched this illegally first time. So
I watched it on Netflix first time.
My punishment is I'll never get the steelbook that I want for it, I guess.
Nope.
And shout out to Criterion for never releasing it. So thanks for that. Yeah, absolute perfection. This, I don't know. I don't want to go too far. Like, this may one day be my second favorite movie.
Let's go ahead and do it, dude.
God, it's so good.
Better than Boyhood.
Like, I haven't watched it. That's an argument I don't want to have to make. It's too close. They're totally different movies. This, like I say, after I finish my A24 marathon, I'm gonna probably go through my top 10 and watch them all and see if anything changes.
Just change your life. Everything sucks now.
What is this?
Go ahead and move Breakfast Club down too. Just go ahead and make There Will Be Blood number 1.
That will never happen. I don't think. I just can't imagine, like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, like, mentally what you went through when Jaws is no longer your favorite movie.
It was a lot to process.
I know, because I'm just like thinking, I'm just like, oh, I don't know.
You're making a big change about yourself. It's like, this is not my favorite movie anymore.
Yeah.
It's a big commitment, but that's
it's,
why I was like, it took me 4 watches before I made the decision. And then it still, like, even after the 4th one, which is when I saw it in New Beverly on film, after that I was like, I still had to take the night. I was like, is it my favorite still? I mean, I don't. And then I was like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, what? Like this, I don't know. Well, obviously, Breakfast Club and Boyhood are totally different from each other, but then they're definitely totally different from There Will Be Blood. But this movie, like, actually, right now, my computer wallpaper is actually There Will Be Blood inspired. But yeah, just I don't know, something about this movie. Like when I finally rewatched it, oh man, just blew me away. Like you said, Paul Dano gives a great performance too. That ending scene is easily in my top favorite of all time scenes.
I drink your milkshake.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up. I could just quote that movie all day long.
I was just so surprised that ending too.
You didn't remember it?
No, I did.
Oh,
but like the first time I watched it, I was like, oh damn.
Yeah.
Now I did remember what happened with his brother when I rewatched it this past time. I knew that he wasn't his real brother, but I was like, I don't remember what happens, and I was like, oh.
Wasn't his real brother?
No, that he killed him. Spoiler.
Oh, well, yeah, I just love everything about it. Because, like, it just plays out so perfectly from everything that's happened. It just, like the scene where he makes him, confess everything in the church.
Mm-hmm.
And he just turns that around on him, and then it's, at least, Daniel Plainview's character got something out of it. Like, Paul Dano's character got nothing, except beaten to death with a
I am a false prophet.
Yeah, and it's just like he gets in the routine of saying it and saying it and saying it, and then he's just like, oh, those areas have been drilled, and just keeps eating his cold steak.
That's what I was thinking the whole time he was eating that steak. I'm like, oh man, how long's that been laying on the floor?
Oh, well, he just like chugging the water because he's just got cotton mouth. He's just drunk. Yeah, it's absolute perfection. I'm just gonna get off here and watch it.
Moving on to my number 8, and this is one. It could move up higher if I rewatched it, or it could move lower. It's one I thought I owned, but apparently I don't. So I didn't get a chance to rewatch it. But that's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh, nice. It's my number 8.
Oh, okay. So same number 8 here. Just an amazing story about heartbreak, relationships. And it's so original and fresh, like the plot of the film and the whole concept. But what really does it for me, great directing too and writing. So good that this guy rarely makes stuff. He does have Kidding on I think Showtime.
Yeah.
Sorry. Which is season 1 of Kidding's good. I need to go watch season 2. I think they might be done now, so I can just go get the free trial and watch the whole season. But really good writer. But what really makes this film for me is the cast. Jim Carrey, best performance of his career.
Yeah.
Just so good. Kate Winslet, best performance of her career as well, I think. Both of them were perfect for their roles and just incredible in this film. And they got a good supporting cast too, with Kirsten Dunst and Mark Ruffalo in there.
Yeah.
Could have done without Elijah Wood, but
just
perfect film for me.
You replace him with Tobey Maguire?
Yeah.
cheap man's Toby.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't. I just I remember just being fascinated with the storyline, and I'm still not sure if they're together. I just
At the end of the movie.
I had no idea probably. Because it's just put in a way where even at the end, like no matter what you think, if you rewatch it, you're just like, oh, well, I didn't see this before, like how this connects into the timeline. But I remember, I love the color palette, the cinematography.
Yeah, I love the cinematography a lot.
I love the shot like in the kitchen when he's like a kid, but it's still Jim Carrey. How they shot that. Throw him in the sink. But yeah, easily his best performance. I'd have to think if it was hers. I'd have to look through her stuff.
I mean, she's got some other really good ones in there. Titanic.
I like
Steve
the Reader.
Jobs.
I don't know if you've seen that.
I thought you didn't like The Reader.
I don't like Revolutionary Road.
I thought you told me you didn't like The Reader.
No, that's incorrect.
I think
you're the
you
one that had drive each other to the hospital.
I think you said that before.
Yeah.
You said there was something in where she just keeps having sex.
That's The Reader, but I don't.
You said you said you didn't like that before. You did.
You running a fever?
Revolutionary Road. That is another Leo movie that I'm not a fan of.
Michael Shannon gave a better performance than anybody.
It wasn't terrible, but not something I want to watch again.
Not in my top 15 of the 2000s, that's for sure.
But yeah, Eternal Sunshine comes in at number 8. What's your number 7?
Adventureland.
So, real quick, Adventureland was another one that I rewatched because I did have it at a 5-star, so it would have made it on the list. But during this rewatch, it moved down to a 4.5 and didn't make it in my top 15. Now, if I was doing top 20, it'd be my list.
Hey man, just give me a copy if you don't like it anymore.
It doesn't have a case. You wouldn't want it.
Yeah, keep that garbage. Yeah, like I say, I don't know, just like a perfect coming of age story, which one of my favorite, if not my favorite genre of film.
Would you consider this a coming of age film?
I would. I think, like I say, that's why I didn't. That's why I said Superbad about comedy, because it's like coming of age, drama, and comedy, like all, a little bit of romance too. But I would definitely think like it's got some elements of coming of age.
Definitely has elements. I don't know if I'd consider that though, because they are out of college, so I don't know where you draw the line for age as far as coming of age.
I can see.
Like
I didn't
22.
say what. I say coming of age. I didn't say what age. But it still has that same feel. Like if you threw
definitely.
these characters in high school, like I would still believe the story.
Yeah.
But like I said, I just another, like, Bill Hader is on my list again with this movie.
He's great. He's a standout.
Apparently, he was very underrated in the 2000s. Is what I'm learning. Litter bug in the clown mouth.
I just love the scene with the baseball bat.
Yeah, don't try me. You don't know what I'm capable of.
Sarah's a fan of that scene. She really likes it.
I just love how when Jesse Eisenberg's character goes in there and says it, like,
just calm. It's like happened before multiple times.
Yeah. Kristen Wiig's character just throws the bat up like it's nothing. He just catches it, does his thing, and he comes back in.
You know what I'm capable of.
Comes back in and says, "Oh yeah, no problem," and just goes back to work. God, you leave these corn dogs out all night? Yeah.
Look like more of a games guy. Plus, I already have the application out.
Yeah. It's so funny. Like subtle comedy like that from him. Like,
James? Am I pronouncing that right, James?
James? Yeah, James. Oh, good. You've been token up. But like I say, it's one of my favorite Kristen Stewart performances. Really underrated. I don't know, but that's a tough call too.
She's got some other good ones.
That's a hot take.
This is her best.
Yikes. Well, there's a few you haven't seen that I would put up there.
I haven't seen. Was it Welcome to the Rileys?
Yeah, I like that one a lot. Camp X-Ray too. I think really Welcome to the Rileys is streaming now, so you need to watch that on Amazon Prime. James Gandolfini, man, R.I.P.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love
my favorite Jesse Eisenberg film as well. I mean, obviously, The Social. What's that?
Cafe Society.
Yeah, they must really like working together too. They've made 3 films, but this was the first and definitely the best. And they have good back and forth. I like them on screen together. Martin Starr too. Don't forget him. He deserves a mention. Really funny.
Yeah. Oh, corn dog.
And also Ryan Reynolds, not playing Deadpool, playing a different, actually acting in this film.
It's crazy. Like, you never thought you'd see it.
I mean, his character is a piece of shit, but he does a good job playing him.
Yeah.
It's a shit I light him up.
That's vomit over there. Good razzmatazz.
And I just, you could have made this film could have been made in any time period, really, and it still would have worked. But I love the fact that they chose the 80s as just had that be fill the film background and the music. Is where I discovered the song "Don't Dream It's Over." Really like that song. It's also and I know I mentioned this and it's not on my list, but I don't want to mention. It's the first film I ever saw in theaters by myself. Yeah. My mom went to see something else with a friend, and I was like, "Well, can you buy me the ticket for this movie?" And she did. So.
Good for you, man. Just rub it.
Yeah. Yeah. First film I've seen in theaters by myself.
I'd have to look at my tickets to even remotely guess what that would have been.
Well, I was thinking about it because I was like, I knew I'd seen it in theaters, and I saw it by myself, and I was like, well, it was 2009, so it was rated R, so my mom had to buy the ticket. And I was like, it definitely wouldn't have happened before with any movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember getting dropped off to see True Grit by myself.
Was that rated R?
I don't know. You just said rated R. You said by yourself.
No, I just wondered how you got into it. Cause...
Probably PG-13.
Because I remember the time, first time I did that, and there was like hardly anybody in this auditorium for this movie. It was probably like a 5 o'clock show, 4 or 5 o'clock show, and maybe 3 people in there, including me.
You get to hear Rock Me Amadeus every time you're at the theme park. Oh, sadist.
Yeah, so that was your number 7?
Yes.
My number 7 is a film that you already mentioned in your honorable mentions, and that is Gangs of New York. Coming in at number 7, yeah. I believe this is... I'm pretty sure this is my favorite Scorsese film. Overall. I don't think he made anything in the 80s or 90s that would top it. But yeah. Favorite Scorsese film. Leo's in here. I love when they work together. Like I said, he's my 3rd favorite actor anyways. But not only do you have Leo in this movie as the lead, you got Daniel Day-Lewis in here as the villain, supporting actor. And I can't remember who you said won supporting actor that year, but it should have been Daniel Day-Lewis.
It doesn't matter. It was
hands down. Bill the Butcher. I've already started thinking about my list for favorite movie characters of the 2000s. And I don't have him in there right now, Bill the Butcher, but
favorite characters and best performances.
Right.
That's different.
When we do performances down the line, he'll be in there. and just like their scenes together is incredible. You got Liam Neeson in this movie too, the beginning, and just
He's
great.
not in it very long.
Unfortunately, not.
John C. Reilly, like someone who could act.
Right. Well, I don't know. Like,
He
I guess
he probably watched Magnolia and was like, "Yo, this guy's
honestly, at that point in 2002, yeah, he had made some good films. John C. Reilly, Gangs of New York, Magnolia, 93, Gilbert Grape.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and so he worked with Leo on that too.
Then he met Will Ferrell. And,
yeah. Yeah, he's good in the movie. Cameron Diaz, one of the, I like Shrek, but
I could have replaced her with someone else.
Favorite Cameron Diaz role is one of the films I watched, and I was like, oh, she's actually good in it. I, liked her. So yeah, that's and I just, it's another movie too. I feel like it's relevant. Like, even though this is definitely based way in the past, it's like you can watch it and like still get the themes and everything. Immigration, all that still carries over today.
Yeah, but Cameron Diaz and the Civil War stuff is it's still a 5 right now, but I would imagine it'd be a 4.5 the next time I watch it. That just takes it away from me because I don't know, I just completely blocked it out, I guess. And when it was happening, I was just like, God, this is just taken away from my entertainment. Leonardo DiCaprio and Daniel Day-Lewis fight right now.
Brendan Gleeson too.
God, such a good actor.
That scene with him and Daniel Day-Lewis when he kills him.
Spoilers.
Well, came out in 2002. What are you guys doing? Go watch the movie.
Yeah, because it's just unexpected.
Yeah.
The first time you watch it, now when you watch it again, it's like, yeah, this is exactly what he would do. Right in the back. Then kills him with his own weapon. Man,
yeah.
Mm. Didn't even let us finish the shave. Yeah, it did not stand a chance. What number was that? 7?
That was my number 7, so we're on to your number 6.
Number 6. You don't have to talk about it because it's not going to be on your list. Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Oh. 4th favorite Wes Anderson film. That's all I'll say.
Best film. It can be your 4th favorite all you want. Darjeeling Limited. Hot take opinions here. Start your list. It gets better every time I watch it. I could just.
Favorite George Clooney movie?
Batman and Robin.
Get out of here with that garbage.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Well, The Descendants is his best movie, but
you're insane. I don't. Garbage.
You're sleeping on that movie, dude. One day you're gonna rewatch it, and you're gonna be like,
fall asleep in that.
Hey, you probably rewatched it more recently, and you're like, oh man, this is a 4.5. You're like, I can't let people know though.
I've only watched it once. That was when it came out. Like I say, it was one that like I read the script first, and I was like, oh, this is really good, and it just didn't translate on screen for me. Like I just felt it was just George Clooney there. Like if somebody just put a camera in his face in his daily life, like it just wasn't real acting to me. Then back when I watched it, yeah, my opinion might change. But Alexander Payne, I'm not a fan of your movies, buddy. So make better stuff. But don't be taken away from Wes Anderson's time here. Get me on a tangent. Also, it's also Meryl Streep's best movie. So there's that.
Oh, that's a hot take.
There's that. Yeah, perfect. Like I say, after watching this, like I love stop motion animation. Like I have the Criterion edition where it goes in, different interviews. They talk about like how long this and that takes. And I would love to make a stop motion animation film, and at the same time, I would just hate myself for making it. So it's like his attention to detail in his films are really high anyway. Like how symmetrical everything is, and I just can't imagine what he had to go through to make this movie. Like, because it has the same feel. Like if you watch it, you're like, yeah, this.
Yeah, all of his shots and everything.
And like you just had to take all that time to put into it for that. obviously, it's got his wheelhouse of cast. Bill Murray, Jason Schwartzman, Owen Wilson. How dare you? um, but yeah, one of my favorite animated movies.
Yeah. Hey, guys, he also has another stop motion animation movie that's even better. It's called Isle of Dogs. Go check it out.
It's all right. Fantastic Mr. Fox, man.
It's a 4 for me. 4-star film.
Insane.
So moving on to my number 6, and it's a film that's definitely not going to be on your list, and that is Spider-Man 2.
Dude, I forgot this movie came out. I just totally forgot. I was like, what's on the rest of his list?
Spider-Man 2 comes in at number 6. Definitely one of the best comic book sequels, probably sequels in general.
Better than the first one?
No. To a lot of people, it is better than the first one. I even had, when I was learning to write screenplays and stuff, I had a book called Screenplay by Sid Field. But in that book, he talks about Spider-Man 2, just how good the screenplay is. So it actually does have the screenplay is better than the first film. The screenplay is better than Spider-Man. Really, just expands on the character. His relationship with MJ is, I really like that in this film. The best of the trilogy as far as that relationship goes. I think the performances are really solid in this film too, and just the journey that you go on. I like Sam Raimi's directing a lot in this film, the cinematography, both with this and the first film. But they have this really epic cinematic feel to it that I feel like
worth the ticket.
Yes, one of the best fight scenes of all time, I think. Definitely in a comic book film, and we're going to do at some point top 10 comic book films. I think this will probably make it in there for me. Really solid.
Yeah, probably make it in mine. Just off the top of my head. Number 10.
How many do you have left in your list? Because I've already talked about my 4 and 5.
I have 5, 4, 3, and 2.
Okay. So you go ahead and do your 5 and your 4.
You stole my number 1. Disrespectful. Number 5 is also a director's best film, regardless of your opinions, because they're wrong. It's Pan's Labyrinth.
Okay. This is a film I need to rewatch. I have it on Blu-ray. Thanks, but I need to rewatch it.
Good, thanks.
Yeah, you gave me your copy.
Well, you're welcome. Not my Criterion copy, did I? You just take that?
This is mine.
I looked over there. Hold on, man. I don't remember having another copy. Well, you're welcome. Yeah, one. I don't know. I have a hard time watching foreign language movies because I hate subtitles now. I hate them so much. Because I'm trying to watch the movie and then I've got to read what they're saying and then go back. Because I'm really big on like facial reactions and eye movements. So I'm trying to focus and I don't. So this was one I enjoyed it the first time I watched it, but just every time over and over. I've got more or less a lot of the dialogue somewhat memorized, at least to some extent of what they say. That way I can focus more on their face. And I'm not sure. I haven't looked at Criterion's. I know I watched it, but I don't know if they have an English dubbed where I could maybe watch it like that sometime. Just so I could focus on their reactions more. Easily my favorite foreign language film. Just amazing. I wish he would go back to making more stuff like that, foreign language. Because I really like Kronos and The Devil's Backbone that he made before. But just the performances alone. Oh man, if I watched this as a kid, I know I'd be terrified in that one scene with that creature. God, just put the eyeballs right in his hand. It just freaks me out. I don't know, it's just weird. It's not normal at all. And it's just like the score too. Like during the whole scene is amazing. But yeah, definitely one you should rewatch today.
Yeah, I don't know about today.
You wanted my number 4 as well?
Yeah, go ahead and do your number 4.
Number 4, part of my favorite trilogy, is Before Sunset.
Okay.
You trying to figure out what that number 1 was?
Yeah, because I thought you were gonna do one of my top 3 here, but it's not okay.
No, I think we have those are next. Yeah, one of my favorite screenplays. 5-star film on the last rewatch, and my second favorite in the trilogy right now.
It's my favorite in that trilogy. It's a 4.5 star for me, so it was considered on my honorable mentions.
You'll rewatch it, and it'll be 5 stars. All 3 of them.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember. This is a lot of people consider the best, and like when I've probably seen this trilogy 6 or 7 times, and I was like, no, this is not. It's still not the best. Before Midnight's the best. But I think this is the whole trilogy, but this one especially is like some of the most natural dialogue that I've ever seen on screen and heard. Like these two characters, the way they bounce off each other is just perfect chemistry. Like and back then, I can't even imagine like casting these two in like leading roles, and then like say eventually like letting them help write the scripts too. But yeah, definitely check out the Before trilogy if you haven't seen it.
I think this one's the best, then Before Midnight, and then Sunrise. But this is the one that I like. I feel like most, I don't know, relatable. I don't know. I feel like I can understand this one the most, being in their positions. But moving on to my number 3. We're on top 3 now. How many? You have 3 left, right?
I have 2.
Oh, okay. Moving on to my number 3, and that is another one that's not going to be on your list, but that is Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man film from 2002. I like it more than the second film, even though the second film has a better screenplay. This was, I mean, it's just one of my favorite films of all time, period, but it's my number 3 of the 2000s. Second favorite comic book film of all time. It was the first comic book film I ever saw in theaters. So it just has a special place in my heart there. Watched it a bunch as a kid. During the time that original Sam Raimi trilogy was being made, I watched this a lot. More than the second one, which like Doc Ock has grown on me from the second film, but Green Goblin, favorite comic book villain.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wish they had done more with him in this film. Not killed him off in this one, kept him longer in the trilogy. But that's not because he's a one and done in this movie, and I wish we had got more of him because Willem Dafoe gives a really good performance. He was the perfect choice to play Norman Osborn. Does a great job here. Like I said, with Sam Raimi's directing for these first 2 films is phenomenal. The cinematography, just the epic feel that both of these movies have, being shot in New York, for like a lot of the outdoor scenes. James Franco being cast as Harry Osborn. I think he was a perfect Harry Osborn in here. Kirsten Dunst, I think, was good as MJ. Tobey Maguire, grown on me too in these first 2 films. Wouldn't have been my choice probably. I probably would have went with Jake Gyllenhaal if I was making these films back then. But I think Tobey does a good job in the first 2 films. J.K. Simmons also as J. Jonah Jameson, perfect. But and the score, Danny Elfman's score, is one of my favorite scores of all time. Like, just phenomenal. That's why I was so excited. Well, he made the original Tim Burton Batman score as well, but the Spider-Man one's better. That's why I was like so excited when he was going to do the score for Justice League, and then I guess he watched the movie and was like, this is a paycheck.
Okay.
But yeah, got to go to Sony, tour that this year, and got to see some of the props from this film, and that was just really special. Seeing like the actual like Green Goblin mask, the little the miniature little area of the falling down building at the end of the film that they fight in. That was really cool. Just like I can see just like every scene in this film and the music that plays with it. It's just so good. Love this movie.
No, not in my top 15. But at least I know our next two are going to be the same. My number 3, which I'm guessing is your number 1. It's Inglourious Basterds.
Yep, my number 1 favorite film of the decade.
Yeah, take that. Swipe it from me. Yeah, this one's one that grew on me. Based on the last viewing, I guess, is when it went up to a 5-star.
Okay.
Quentin Tarantino's best directed movie. Yes.
I disagree, but I'd say it's his second best.
Overall,
I think it's just his second best film. Once Upon a Time. Second favorite his as well. Yeah. My favorite film of the 2000s and the 2010s are Brad Pitt led Tarantino films.
Brad Pitt didn't lead Once Upon a Time.
You know what I mean. You want to get technical. Okay. Leo is the lead in Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, just love Christoph Waltz in this movie so much. Yeah, top 10 characters Hans Landa's making it in there.
Yeah.
So
as a terrible, terrible dude, but even with that, you can understand the decisions he's making to benefit himself.
Do what you got to do, man. He said, I'm a detective, and a good one.
But, Aldo's in there, my top characters too. I love Aldo Rain.
He probably won't be on mine. Nothing against the guy, but I mean, he won't at this moment. Like maybe 20 years down the road. Yeah, sure, he might throw a bone.
Just like an incredible story too, and so original. Like taking this, and it's like, first of all, I want to mention too, this is the first Tarantino film. Not only the first Tarantino film that I saw, but the first one I saw in theaters. Another one I got my dad to take me to see. Because I'd watched the trailers and was interested. Didn't really know anything about Tarantino, and that's what really got me into it.
You ever watched at all?
Yes. 2009.
Man, late to the game, bro.
I mean, what was I gonna have watched before this?
Pulp Fiction? Reservoir Dogs?
My parents weren't watching those movies. I didn't have access to them. Netflix and stuff wasn't around then.
It was around.
But I remember seeing the posters for Kill Bill when they were in theaters, but I didn't get to go see them. And I remember seeing the posters for Death Proof, but I didn't watch it. So this one, I was 14 and I was like, I really want to see this movie. My dad took me to see it. End of summer.
He wasn't feeling it, probably.
He didn't seem like he was feeling it when he came out of the theater.
Fell asleep right when it started. Like,
I was just like talking about how good it was, and he was like, "Yeah, where do you want to go eat?"
I don't know. I think I can't remember. It was either Reservoir Dogs or Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction was the second one I watched because after I loved this, watched this, I was like, looking back at his other movies, and I ended up finding Pulp Fiction and was able to watch it, and then Reservoir Dogs.
I can't remember. I want to say Pulp Fiction, but then I distinctly remember watching Reservoir Dogs with Todd, and he hated it. Dude, he just walked out of the room and just, this is garbage.
I don't know about his opinion on movies.
I think I got it for my birthday one year. It might have been. It had to be the first one I watched. I remember I got it. Maybe 15th anniversary, 10th anniversary. No, had to be 15th. I know I didn't watch it when I was 8.
I want to say I might have watched Reservoir Dogs first time with you. I think.
Probably. Todd was not there, I'm sure. He said, I'm out. He said he'll never watch it again. He hated it so much. I loved it more than I do now.
Reservoir Dogs?
Yeah.
Oh, that one's went down for me.
Yeah.
But
like, I remember watching, I was like, oh, snap. This guy's a double agent.
But yeah, honestly, there are 3 characters from this film that are going to make it in my top 10 list of the 2000s. With Aldo, Shoshana, and Hans Landa. All 3 of these are great characters.
Oh.
And have their own little story. Spoiler, man.
She does not make it.
But her journey in the film is incredible. You know, it starts at the beginning with our introduction to Hans and carries us into the film. Everything would have been, if she was in the film and her plan hadn't been there, you wouldn't have had the whole burning of the theater. Like, everything would have went a little bit differently. But I love that too. This decision to give a real historical film, but then change the ending how you want to do it. And, you know, obviously he does that again with Once Upon a Time, but this was on an even larger level, and what could have happened if this had actually happened and everything. Just a great concept. And this has always been a 5-star film for me, but, you know, it's grown on me over the years as far as breaking it up into chapters. I didn't really know how I felt about that too much, but I like it now. But yeah, going back in between these 3, I guess you would say, main characters that we follow throughout the film with Aldo, Hans Landa, and Shoshana.
Yeah.
Incredible screenplay. Probably my favorite. Well, it is my favorite screenplay of the 2000s as well. And that opening scene with Hans Landa is just, I think, one of the best scenes ever written, honestly. The
score is fantastic.
Yeah, the score. Oh, man. You could just watch that scene. That scene alone is a film itself. Just watching that.
Very depressing film.
Oh, it is, definitely. But the suspense, oh my God.
What's I told you a couple weeks ago, I never noticed it, where he checks the daughter's pulse.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's just, you creepy dude.
Just drinking fucking milk too in that scene.
What's your problem, dude?
Just the way he drinks it. It's like he's water.
Yeah, I love milk, dude.
Yeah, he does too.
Well, I mean, I don't hate Jews. That's the difference. There's no connection between people who love milk.
Just a psychopath.
Straight out the jug, bro. Yeah. It's an alright movie, I guess. My number 3.
So we both have one more, right?
We both have the same.
Okay. This is my number 2, which would also be your number 2.
Yep.
And that's Shrek 2. No. The number 2 on the list is The Dark Knight, 2008.
We have a different pick then.
No, it's not. Yours is The Dark Knight. I know.
Changed it.
Still, hands down, as much as I love Spider-Man, as much as I love Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame, this is
movie of all time.
Yes, best and favorite comic book film of all time. Rewatched it last year. Sarah had never seen the whole trilogy, so we watched all three movies. Just so epic, like from the beginning to the end, from the score, cinematography, directing, the performances. Heath Ledger as the Joker, so good. Harvey Dent is my favorite DC comic book villain. He's not better than the Joker in this film, but I think he's underrated, and Aaron Eckhart's performance in the film is underrated as well. Just everything to do with Rachel, from her death to the rest of the film, and how that affects.
Been Katie Holmes.
I wish they'd kept Katie Holmes too. I don't understand anyone who says that Maggie Gyllenhaal was an upgrade. I mean, no disrespect to Maggie Gyllenhaal, she was good in the film, but I would rather had them kept Katie Holmes.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if this is my favorite comic book movie.
Oh well, I'll see you later.
It's the best, but I don't know. I would have to rewatch the entire trilogy. Oh man, I don't know.
Well, see, I've went back and forth because, like, with this and Spider-Man, but I rewatched
Infinity War and Endgame.
I watched both of these last year in the fall, and that's when I was like, yeah, this is my favorite, just for that stuff with Rachel too, like, and Bruce's the stuff with the letter afterwards.
I'll say the screen is underrated.
Yeah,
doesn't get attention.
Definitely.
I don't know. I'd have to rewatch it if we made a list, because
just gives me chills.
Endgame and Infinity War, I could just flip those depending on what day of the week it is. Endgame is my favorite right now. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch.
Like when Batman, when he runs in there to get Harvey, and he's like, no, because then he like knows that she's gone, and just, oh man, just rips you apart.
Did you cry?
Mind your own business.
This is honestly one of my favorite movie going experiences because I watched it at a drive-in.
It's one of mine as well. I've never seen a film on a drive-in.
Drive-in?
No. But this is, and I mean, you young kids out there won't know anything about this because they don't have them anymore. Midnight releases. This was, which is good now. I'm glad they don't anymore, because now you get to go see a film on Thursday night at 7:00 instead of.
I don't know.
Midnight.
It's still the experience.
But yes,
at midnight,
that experience you'll never get. And there was only a few films I got to do that with, but this was the first, and just so memorable. Well, the other ones are memorable too, but this is the first time. My mom got me tickets. I'd been really wanting to see this film. She got us tickets. We saw it at Asheboro, but got there. Remember just like waiting in a long line, like that were going through the mall to get into the theater, because they had closed them, and they would close and reopen because it was a Thursday. And so they did that. I was playing in multiple auditoriums. We get in there, just sold out auditorium. Energy's like so high. They were doing like contests. I remember I won like a poster and a polo, some kind of movie theater polo, because I got a question right. So it was just amazing experience.
I think I've only seen 2 or 3 movies at midnight. It's Great Gatsby at midnight.
I think that's afterwards. Because and this is the thing. This was the first film that I saw at midnight, and the last film I saw at midnight was The Dark Knight Rises. Because I think that's when they stopped doing midnight releases because of the shooting.
What a jerk.
Because that was in 2012 when The Dark Knight Rises came out, which is also one of my favorite movie-going experiences. We'll do a list on that separate time. But the next film, Iron Man 3, was the first one that was at 7:00. It was at midnight.
You sure? I distinctly remember that being at midnight.
Find your ticket.
I will after the video.
That was when it changed, I think, because that was that was the first time I'd seen a film after that. I got a pre-ticket because I think we were thinking it was going to be at midnight, And we got there, and it was like, we have one at 7 instead. So I was like, oh, okay.
I don't know. I had to look at my ticket because I thought those. I don't know. I saw the Dark Knight at drive-in and loved the experience. Because I got to see Journey to the Center of the Earth before it.
So you know what's bad, now you can know what's good.
I was like, all right, you're preparing me. You're not trying to mess with my expectations, just ground me here. But yeah, Heath Ledger's Joker character will be on my top of the 2000s for performances and characters. Right up there with Daniel Day-Lewis. And There Will Be Blood. Yeah, love the score, cinematography.
Everything about it. It should have won Best Picture in 2008.
Yeah, it did not.
It's a shame it didn't, And it also, like, I think it was like at that point is when they started changing it. After that, because of this film, they started changing it to 10 nominees.
25 and 10.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 10 being the highest you could get, which you'll never probably get 10. But yeah, that's our list, guys. Next week we're going to be back with favorite movie characters of the 2000s. So we're going to keep it on 2000s for a little bit here. Dive into that decade, giving you everything here. And then we'll move on to a different decade. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you guys next week.